We are here tonight with our usual suspects. We have Howie Darkstar, of course. We have, and I'm going to go ahead and let you off the hook. It's a new year. We have Jay with us, Jay Brannan. See what I did there?
I do.
I didn't shame you because you've been doing very good.
I've been trying.
You've been doing very well. So
In 2023.
That's right. We're going to try to do some stuff different this year. I'm not sure what yet. But one thing we're not going to do different is get rid of our favorite new segment, which is Boston John's Record Roundup.
Boston John's Record
Boston John. Boston John, take it away. What do you got?
We've no theme music.
No. I gave up on that shit.
Okay.
Forget it.
Oh, that's all right. We can still get through it. It's fine. I remember looking back over just a few of the shows, and for some reason, this young lady got missed, and we hadn't pulled her up. I didn't have the record I wanted, so I had to get the one that was just before it.
Mm-hmm.
The big hits, of course, we're going to call her the Queen of Disco.
Oh, Donna. She didn't like that title, by the way.
Going to be Donna.
And which record were you looking for?
Well, I was looking for Bad Girls, which came out in '79.
Want me to grab a copy of Bad Girls
for a visual show? I lent it out to somebody, and it never came back. That was 1985, so I'm not holding my breath.
Sure.
So this was pre Bad Girls and pre Hot Stuff. But you did have Heaven Knows on here, MacArthur Park, I Feel Love, Last Dance, and it was a live record, which was it's a 3-disc. And it's just for all the disco hits and how influential she was. I just thought, since we've never really talked about her or brought her to the forefront, that she's definitely an artist that you want to have in your collection. There's
best female vocalist ever, no debate, hands down.
No, and even kept it going into the '80s when you had like Wanderer and stuff that came.
Yeah,
for It's Hard for the Money.
Hard for the Money, Wanderer, Love is a Control was a really good one.
Yep.
I like that song. That was good stuff.
Yeah. And fun fact too, this was produced by Giorgio Moroder.
Giorgio Moroder and Jan Hammer did a lot of that stuff for her in the '70s. A lot of it. And in the late '80s, she was actually working with Stock Aitken Waterman. With one track she did. This Time I Know It's For Real. And same people who were doing like Rick Astley and Bananarama and Stock Aitken Waterman had like all the hits on the top 10 on the British charts for a while, and it got everybody's nose. But yeah, Donna, that album, Another Place, Another Time, was produced by Stock Aitken Waterman. I mean,
there's an artist. Yeah, this at least 15 instantly recognizable tracks from this. Her career before that was more R&B, but once she hit the turn on disco, she was off and running. And then like Dim on the Lights was on the next record.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's my pick. We just show her some love.
It's a nice pick. Yeah. What's interesting about that live record too is it is live. I mean, not that they were doing a lot of studio tricks with vocals back then, but you get that just unaltered, pure vocal from her. And like I said, she's one of the best singers, so worth a listen.
For sure. And this is the only place I think you can get the Barbra Streisand cover of The Way We Were is on the live record. I don't think
not that anybody wanted it, but if you wanted it, it's there.
If you need that, for the memory.
And she had the duet with Barbra Streisand, No More Tears Enough.
It came up a little later for sure.
I have the 12-inch single of that, Casablanca.
Kiss's label.
Now, back when I was a white guy, I used to call it Casablanca, but now that I'm not anymore, it's Casablanca, which translates to White House, if anybody didn't know. But anyway, sorry.
I'm going to put a bow on it. Thought I meant Blanca's house.
Yeah. Howie, what do you got for us this week? Got anything?
I went a little bit different because I am in production mode for lighting, and I'll be a week from now, I'll be up doing a 2-week gig in the Great White North of Lake Placid. And Eric has been sending me lighting videos. Hey, can you recreate this? Yes, I can. And so I went and dug this out. And this is Pulse by Pink Floyd, which is the reason I got into the first place from seeing the very first tour that they did of Dark Side of the Moon. And this was recorded in Earl's Court in 1994. and it's just quite a spectacle. And I've been grabbing ideas off of that. And I actually used this summer for a house party in a yard, and they wanted to see this. So I used those, I used the very small sound system, put up a big screen and the projector. And it was just not something you would DJ with, but great pleasure, in the lighting design, which is, when I'm doing maps. That's my pick.
Right on. Jay, what do you got?
Well, I think a lot of people are probably like, how can I get into thrash metal? With sort of
everyone's wondering that.
Exactly. Amy.
I hear it a lot. I hear
it every day.
I walk by the salon.
Yep, on the hour.
You hear the ladies to each other. What's a good entrance album?
I really like the new Lizzo album, but I really want to know more about thrash.
What do I do with thrash? And I think a good one, because it's got that mellow track on it that you can sort of get away with. That would be Ride the Lightning by Metallica.
Oh, that's a very good album.
And oddly enough, in my research today, I found out, and again, understand, folks, you see no albums coming out today, but in the heyday of the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, you had to put out an hour of material, or at least, 12, 15 songs. This album has 8 songs, and every one of them is great. Like, every one of them. Like, there isn't a bad track on the album.
There's great,
there's that scene. If you've wondered, I like a couple of these tracks by Slayer or Metallica or whoever, like what Metallica, I think everyone runs to Injustice for All.
They do. I don't know why.
Definitely great albums. But I really think almost the innocence or the kind of naivete of their career starts with this, even though Kill 'Em All came out before it. Kill 'Em All is a lot of Dave Mustaine material.
Yeah.
As he used to be in the band.
Sure.
I think Ride the Lightning is a little bit more representative of the Cliff Burton era of writing.
I believe
Cthulhu and
that's like that. I don't know. I don't want to go as far as to say it's their best album, but it's one of their best albums.
I think it's one of their best, yeah.
And
they've had some misses along the way, and this certainly is not one of those.
What are the standout tracks on that album for you?
Fade to Black got me into it.
Yeah.
Fade to Black got me into it. For Whom the Bell Tolls got me into it.
Those are my 2 standouts.
Yeah. I love Creeping Death. I think Ride the Lightning's a great track.
Light Fire with Fire is a little too...
It's a little... They're more... I think that's a little too hardcore, even for most of their fans.
Right. Okay.
Trapped Under Ice is sort of a speed... No, not at all. Okay. Trapped Under Ice gets really speedy. Creeping Death is a classic of theirs. But Call of Cthulhu is a beautiful instrumental. And they've done this a few times. The one that stands out after that is probably off of
Puppets, right? Orion?
Orion on Puppets, yeah.
No.
Orion's another great one. But Call of Cthulhu is very bass heavy, and it was written by Cliff Burton, who was really a lot more talented than people realized. So it's a good album. I mean, it's fun to listen to. You don't have to be embarrassed listening to it. There isn't a lot of, and this was the other thing that still kind of shocks me. There's no swears. This isn't a parental advisory album. Like, they're not swearing. Now.
No, but he's kind of talking about almost suicide in Fade to Black.
Yeah, the message might not be right. But, for this style of music, you would expect the F word versus today, where it's like, somebody does a pop song and they throw bad language in.
I think I was 13 when that album came out, and that was like the most angst-ridden thing I'd ever heard in my life, and I loved it.
Yeah. I actually found Kill 'Em All by getting into Ride the Lightning, because Ride the Lightning and Fade to Black made so much noise, and then someone's like, have you heard Kill 'Em All? I'm like, right. No, and I put that on with like Hit the Lights and Four Horsemen.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, they were on tour in Europe, and I guess Merciful Fate took them under their wing for 84, and that was, both hands were just firing on all cylinders. So they absorbed a lot of that. Out of that Swedish metal.
I went to see them in Boston at the Channel, and it was Armored Saint, Wasp, and Metallica. And I hung out with Cliff and Kirk at the bar because Lars's visa had expired, so Logan Airport wouldn't let him in. and Peter Mensch and the other guy who managed Metallica and Def Leppard were dealing with something with Def Leppard and had not gotten his visa updated for Lars. At the time, he was not an American citizen. He was still a Danish citizen. So they came out, the three of them got on stage and said, we're really sorry, we're not going to play tonight, but the two bands opening will just play longer sets. But they were there. They were super approachable. They hung out. They said, we're going to hang out at the bar if you want to hang out. I mean, and it was a good crowd, you know. Believe it or not, 84, 85, the whole stage dive was punk, but the mosh pit really hadn't taken off yet. So it wasn't like, 5 years later, I saw Anthrax at a show, and even I was getting anxious. And when I saw, the Ice-T one, not Body Bag.
Body Count.
Body Count. I saw them at NAMM a few years ago.
Body Bag.
They barely hit the stage, and all hell broke loose in the audience. It was a secret show they did at NAMM, and I was up towards the stage, and literally fists and feet were flying within the first line. They opened with Slayer, too, which didn't help things. And he incited a riot in the crowd. I'm like, hour into it, I'm like, okay, I'm good.
But you won't hear Slayer at nail salons anymore.
No.
Well, they're looking for that thrash.
Yeah. Brian, what do you got for us?
Well, I don't know. You've gone metal and Howie went Pink Floyd, which is progressive, I guess. And John's gone full out disco, so I need to do something different, Rhea. I don't know if I've done this one or not before, but if I haven't done it, I should have. And if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry, I do have brain damage. And I almost know that I have done it before, but screw it, I'm doing it again anyway. I'm going to go with Beastie Boys' License to Ill.
You haven't done it before.
Okay, good. I'm going with Beastie Boys' License.
Paul's Boutique once.
Nope, I've never done Paul's Boutique. In fact, I never listened to the whole album. So I've never done it.
Great album.
We were supposed to do that.
John did it.
Do that.
John did Paul's Boutique.
Oh, John did. Okay. It's a great album.
I remember now that we're talking about it because we had this discussion.
Yeah.
But yeah, License to Ill. Let me tell you why I think everyone should listen to this album. Well, for me, I heard Fight With Your Right to Party on the radio, and to me, it was junk. There was a lot of cool stuff going on at the time when that album came out. That was a throwaway, stupid song for kids. And it was like a pandering rock rap crossover thing that I thought was kind of dumb. And then No Sleep Till Brooklyn kind of sounded like more of the same to me. I wasn't impressed. But I had just gotten my first CD player, and I would get the Maxell, the chrome tapes, the metal tapes, and I would borrow people's CDs and tape them. So I get like as much music as I possibly could, so I could listen to it.
Well,
Kid Next Door thought Fight For Your Right to Party was a great song. He was a dumbass. And I borrowed his CD just because I was just trying to, I got like a 10-pack of metal tapes for Christmas or something. I'm like, I'm just going to fill them up, because 90-minute tapes, you get an album per side back then.
Right.
So I would, program the thing to put my, the songs that I knew first and everything else last. Let me tell you something. The rest of that album is where the magic is. The rest of that album is amazing. It's nothing like what you heard on the radio. It's so good. The samples are from like Zeppelin tracks and stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Fantastic use of samples. The bass that recording produces is insanity. In fact, I was in Italy, I guess about 6 years ago, at the FBT headquarters, and the guy who was the audio engineer, like the big audio file there, whenever he was testing FBT speakers, one of the tracks that he used was Brass Monkey. And I guess a lot of audio engineers use it because the theory is if you can play Brass Monkey through your system, it doesn't completely fall apart. You got a pretty well-built system. The bass is insane. The highs are good. The mids are good. It's just one of those tracks. It's right up there with the Dire Straits stuff that we've talked about.
Yeah.
So it's a cool album. And if you haven't checked it out, please do. It's really good.
It is. I agree.
Side note on that album, two. One is on the front of the album.
Evening.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hold it up to the mirror.
Oh, that's the mirror.
Yeah.
But I stopped a famous musician and his tracks because people were talking to him. I think at NAMM or Vegas, I saw him. And I said, hey, what's it like to have your work in the rock?
Oh, you were telling us about this.
Yeah. And it was Kerry King because he does the guitar solo on No Sleep. I think he does the guitar work on everything because they were on Def Jam.
There were only, I think there's only 2 songs in there with like distinct guitar solos. That would be No Sleep Till Brooklyn and Pipe Your Right to Party. The 2 singles.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it's Carry On, but I know it's Carry On, No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
The standouts on that album is everything. Just that good. Hold It Now Hit It is so much fun. The new style is amazing.
I think it opened a lot of eyes and ears, though, don't you think? I mean, yeah, you sometimes have to lead softly with like a goofy song because there was a lot of people at the time who looked at, you know,
rock would get on the radio.
This is crazy. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I mean, after that, what did we have? Snow?
Well, we had that was like 10 years later. Or not 10 years later, but that was in the 90s. That was like 90s.
Right, but I mean, when did this come out? 83?
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say 86 or 87.
Was it that late?
Yeah, 86 or 87.
5 or 6. Yeah.
So 3 years later, out comes Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, but this was different. And what made it different?
I'm putting the 2 white comparative things.
But what's unique? See, I don't compare Beastie Boys to any other hip hop artist because they did something no one else had done with what they were doing. And not a lot of those Rick Rubin, I understand that, but it was so unique with how they did it. Not only that, but they were punk rockers.
Yeah, initially
Beastie Boys was a punk band,
and
they're punk.
Yeah,
that's how
before,
huh?
You ever heard their stuff before?
Yeah,
they're up. Yeah, it's total punk.
Yeah, I mean they were a punk band and they just did this rap thing. But punk, for those of you who think it's Nirvana and Pearl Jam, it's totally not.
Oh,
Punk. Howie could tell you it's different. Punk artists almost like they're just artsy. They don't have really play instruments. They just make stuff up and make noise and get up there and do stuff. It's very raw. It's very homemade, organic. It's not polished. It's not Juilliard, for Christ's sakes. It's well, I'm going to get a guitar, just make noise with it. And Ramones are famous for that. So many. Ramones were like one of the only punk bands who like stayed punk. They never like evolved into this other thing.
Right.
Like every other punk band I can think of, like evolved into something else. Pretenders and Blondie and the Clash and
They were
Talking Heads
and for a whole year, and then when they polished,
you could even say the same thing about the Sex Pistols. I mean, because PIL was nice, it was good, but early stuff is just rough and raw. They were still young, rough and raw when they did License to Ill. They were still punk rocker kids.
Yeah.
So, and they were Jewish, which was hilarious.
And they did learn eventually to become accomplished musicians.
They became amazing musicians.
Remember the SNL when Elvis Costello came out and stopped them and he did Radio? They were the backing band. They played for him. And that's about his punk.
Yes, they became really good musicians. They learned their instruments. They couldn't really be punk anymore. They became something else. They went from being kind of crass, unlikable people to really cool philanthropists who did wonderful things and charity work and benefits and fed the hungry around the world. And come on,
That was their thing.
Cool album though. Started there, really started there. There was stuff before that, but really it kind of started there for him.
It's a good pick, and you haven't done that before.
Good.
No.
Couldn't remember if I had or not, but I had to do something that was different since you guys were all going in different directions.
But wasn't that at the time considered? There was a subgenre called rap rock.
Well, they tried to call it that, but no one else did it.
Yeah.
It was like, I guess that's what it was. The only thing that came close to that was probably Run DMC, Aerosmith Walk This Way thing.
Right.
That's a good point.
Stuff on Tougher Than Leather.
Yeah. It came up later. Like Faith No More would come out and do stuff that was kind of happy crossover.
Yeah, you're right. And Chili Peppers did it first, I think.
It was the whole genre of that.
Yeah. But the
Living Color
Boys, I really can't put, there's nothing like that. There's nothing like what they did on that first album anywhere. No one did anything close to that.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone tried, but we didn't hear it. That was just good. It was so good. I don't know why it was good. I don't know why I like that album as much as I do, but I love it. It's fantastic.
That's the 4 diverse picks of the week. We're like 4 heads of a compass all heading in different directions. Something for everybody. Something for everybody.
Good way to kick off the new year.
Well,
We did get a crowd there, boss.
Yeah, good rap. Good rap.
I have to mention this because when Brian made his comment, I went online to look at something. And, I used to love Rolling Stone magazine. I was a fan. They had great writers.
Right.
They birthed some incredible talent out of that place. Jan Wenner's eye for hiring, Hunter S. Thompson, Cameron Crowe,
Right.
different people. Well, I heard some controversy this morning on the news because they were talking about Rolling Stone came out with its top 200 best singers.
Yeah. And what, Celine Dion wasn't on it or something? I don't remember what it was.
Dion's not on it,
Right.
which I dare say she could compete with anyone on it,
Right.
including Mariah. There are times I think she could probably take Mariah out, but I was interested. I went through the top 20 thinking, oh, Donna Summer will be there. Donna Summer came in at 122.
At least she was there.
Well, at least she was there. But the people that beat her out,
Yeah.
it's scary.
Yeah.
It's not Rolling Stone magazine anymore since it was sold.
Well, Patti Smith is a talented writer, poet.
Great.
But Patti Smith at 117, 5 spots higher than Donna Summer. If we're talking about singing,
No, not singing. As an artist, maybe.
but as a singer,
Yeah.
come on.
No,
Come on. Come on, guys.
Well, I don't know how credible.
Chrissy
Rolling-
Hynde.
right. That's what I was getting at. I don't know about the credibility of that magazine anymore.
No. I take it all back. Ozzy Osbourne is 10 spots higher than Donna Summer. This tells me this is a credible judgment of vocal skill and
Yeah.
now I
You know, you know what I hate? Absolutely hate. It's when they judge art. I don't like it. I don't like saying you're better than that person, or it's all a matter of opinion.
Mhm.
It's like what we do, right?
Mhm.
Every week we go out and Jay famously beat mixes his entire night. I famously totally do not do that. But that's Jay's interpretation of his art. And that's my interpretation of my art. And we do it for different reasons, but we're different artists.
it's a Bobby
Yes.
Brown thing. It's my prerogative.
No, but one's not better than the other. They're just different. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, and he comes up at 105. Here's Eddie Vedder. And Eddie Vedder, who at the beginning I was not the biggest fan, he won me over when they won a Grammy or some American Music Award. They won something. And he goes, I'll be honest, I'm not comfortable taking this. I don't think you can judge art. Art's beauty is in the eye of the beholder. How can you say that we're a better band
Right.
than Soundgarden? That's just doesn't make sense. I'll accept it and I'll say thank you, but I don't think it's right to judge art. And he walked off stage with it. And I was like, you know what? I like this guy. Because you're 100% right, Brian. You can't, Celia Cruz came in the top 20. Now, if you're the biggest Celia Cruz fan, you might look at that and say, oh, but again, when you put numbers next, if they didn't put numbers next to their names, if they just had 200 people, I would say, man, this is a great list. But the fact that they broke it down by relegating people lower or higher, that's when you stop and say, how did you come up with Eddie Vedder as 15 spots higher quality singer?
We asked all of our 19-year-old interns and they said so.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
What was in the office that day? We just took a poll.
I mean,
They'd never heard of Barbra Streisand, so she probably wasn't on the list.
You know what? Barbra Streisand's not in the top 140. I mean, because the names that jump out at you,
Yeah.
you look at the names and I'm just like, what Taylor Swift?
There's probably no Olivia Newton-John on that list, even though she died this year.
It's a popularity
Taylor
contest.
Swift beat out Anita Baker. No disrespect to Anita Baker or Taylor Swift, but if I am a betting man on who's the better singer, Sorry, Taylor. Anita might get a couple bucks out of my pocket. She's maybe what we call a better singer. And I think Taylor Swift would tell you Anita Baker's a better singer.
Toni Braxton's the better singer, for Christ's sake.
She's not in, I don't see her name in the top
at all. Yeah. Oh. It's stupid. It's just, it's meaningless. And they can't even sell a magazine anyway, so who cares about that?
No, that's the best part is they're all
They can't give away their magazine.
No, but like, when's the last time? I mean, D'Angelo beat out a ton of people, and it's like, I mean, I think D'Angelo's really talented and a great voice. I haven't played D'Angelo in years, so
D'Angelo is like a Prince impersonator.
Yeah. Or
Prince nothing better.
Prince. Yeah. By the way, Prince made the top 20.
And he's not that good of a singer. I love Prince, but I would never put him in a high ranking for a vocalist.
No.
He has an interesting voice, much like Ozzy Osbourne does, but I don't think it's a great voice.
I mean, Muddy Waters beat out, by 2 spots, Patti LaBelle. You can't compare Muddy Waters and Patti LaBelle. That's water and that's, oil and water. You can't say this person is notably better. I mean,
who was number 1? Harry Styles?
No, number 1 was Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
Mariah Carey was like number 5. And I think number 4 was like Sam Cooke.
Was Whitney Houston like in the top 10 or something?
She was in the top 10. Yeah.
Yeah. Donna Summer's a better singer, and she's like 90 positions behind her.
Yeah. Well, again, not a huge Celine Dion fan, but if you're talking about ability and talent, my gosh, the woman, time and time again, I don't care if you hate her work, you can't take away the woman's talent. Granted, she's going through a health issue now and she's canceled her performances. But outside of that, it's on record. Go listen.
Legacy of work for sure.
She crushes.
I remember the Winehouse. One ever heard she
you don't have to be alive. Amy Winehouse made the list. She's been dead 5 years, so it's not even some of this
more than that.
Posthumous.
Yeah,
has it been more than that?
Oh yeah,
she's still dead.
She's been dead like I don't know, long time.
02, 03, way back. Yeah.
No. It was like 2010, 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
I'm going to be completely
like right after rehab. She died. It seems like.
Yeah, she didn't. I don't even. Rehab song. She may or may not have even toured over here on that. Yeah. It just seems there's a lapse when someone says to me, "This year is 2023." Remember that thing that happened in '97? My brain thinks that's only like 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's what's
just skip 2000.
My married daughter who owns real estate. Yeah,
there's that 10-year gap where I'm just like, oh, that wasn't that long ago, and it's like, no, that was 30 years ago. Wait,
okay.
What? Yeah,
it's okay. That's just how it works now.
George Michael beat out Robert Plant, but then got beaten by Kulthum, who I've never heard of.
But yeah,
she for decades was an Egyptian star. Okay. Kate Bush was number 60. I'm sorry, Kate Bush has got like 4 octaves. Ask Pat Benatar. Gaga's 58. Brian Wilson beat Gaga, and Barry White beat Tina Turner, 55. She didn't even make the top 20. Come on. She's got a great voice.
Where's Ann Wilson?
I have not seen her name. Yeah, she may not have made the list.
Oh. Wow.
Sade was 51.
No, Ann Wilson. That's okay. Totally credible.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Rolling Stone. We needed to know all of these things.
I prefer people like Rick Beato, for example, did a favorites type thing, or he put it as a list, but he did not put a number next to it.
Right.
And in no particular order. And that I like.
It does. He says that any one of these 5 could be the number 1. It's up to your personal preference. They're all top 5 worthy. So
they're really good. Check them out. But that doesn't necessarily mean we've taken every single singer ever into consideration. There's probably some other really good stuff out there. This is the definitive list of the best, and that's just stupid.
But that's the last time they did this, I think, was 2008. So this isn't something that they're constantly regurgitating. They did this with guitarists too.
I remember that. Recently they redid it with guitarists.
Like last year, did we trash them on the top 500 songs too? We're like, oh, what a bunch of hooey this is.
Right.
Yeah. Rotten list. Once a year we trash Rolling Stone in here.
Well, Adele and Nina Simone didn't make the top 20. Marvin Gaye did. Frank Sinatra did. Celia Cruz did. Elvis did. Prince did. Bob Dylan at 15. Guys, ask Bob Dylan.
Yeah, Bob Dylan's a wonderful singer.
No, but here's the funniest thing. You know who beats him out by one? Freddie Mercury. Now, this is where it starts to get a little interesting. After Freddie's Patsy Cline, John Lennon, Little Richard, Al Green, Otis Redding. This is, I don't, you know what? If I never play this artist again, go ahead and send letters. John Young at whatever.
Yeah.
Number 8 on this list, Beyonce. A great singer, not deserving of that. Who's ahead of her? Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Mariah Carey, Billie Holiday, Sam Cooke, Whitney, and in number 1, Aretha. I have a problem with a lot of this list.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's just again, all you know about Rolling Stone is that list.
I think
is anybody paying attention?
When you said earlier, we asked some interns. Frank Zappa famously made that diatribe or rant or whatever you want to call it about, the heyday of music was when they had the old guys with the cigars said yes to everything, said, yeah, let's put it out there, throw it against the wall to see what works.
Well,
what happened was they got the hippies in there as interns and said, hey, you're with that crowd. You pick the music for us.
If I
went downhill.
If I remember correctly, what he was saying is that the people who were the A&R people back in the old days didn't understand the Beatles, didn't understand Pink Floyd, didn't understand Led Zeppelin. They said, you know what? I don't get it, but let's try it.
Let's try.
I don't get it, but let's try it.
Right.
Then when the boomers got in on it, they're like, hey, I know what's good. This is good. That's not good. They started being that way, and that was what Frank Zappa was saying. And I think there's probably some truth to that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it comes with age that your perspective changes against the new days. Reality.
Yeah.
Vegas was better in the 70s and 80s when the mob ran it. Now you can argue, no, it wasn't. Nobody charged you a $48 resort fee, $20 parking. Nobody knows your name. It's $10 to get a drink. And for those of you, unlike me, that don't go to Vegas a lot, welcome to the new thing. Remember putting a 20 in the bar and playing video poker and getting free comp drinks? There's a catch now. And the catch is that the back of the machine on the bartender side has a green light. You know when that comes on? It doesn't. No. Now the machine spits a ticket out randomly when you've played long enough or won or lost enough. And then you can get your $10 beer for free. So the days of sitting at the bar in Vegas with a $20 bill and catching a buzz are gone. And I had someone explain this to me last month when I was in Vegas. Put in the 20. I said, yeah, I'll take a Bloody Mary. He goes, do you want to pay for it? I said, I'm gambling. I just put $20 in. I got the credit. He goes, it's a new system. I hate it. I go, what is the new system? He goes, gamble a little while. You'll see a white ticket come up. That means I can give you a free drink. I go, what the hell's going on in this place? He goes, it's the downside. It's the downfall of the town. He was serious because he's like, those guys survived on us coming in there with a 20 and tipping them a few bucks if we won or lost at 2 a.m. versus now. Can you imagine? You're not even going to bother playing it. But it's that, the old guy with a cigar going, hey, give it a shot. Or the old dealer with a cigar going, hey, Jay, good to see you again. Come on over. Let's get him a steak dinner kind of thing. Those days are just behind us.
Not that anybody would know because they're all staying 7 miles off the strip if they go now.
Well, if they go now, yes, they're staying in. Actually, it's not even, I found out today, South Point is technically on the Las Vegas Strip, but it's also technically in California.
Clark County somewhere, right?
No, it's in California. It's technically still California.
Way out Baker. No Baker again.
Technically, mail comes there as South Point, Baker, California.
East Baker. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the guy in a mail truck. It's getting left side drive, leaving the town every day. Where are you going? South Point.
Yeah. East Baker.
Yeah. Well, if you like to bowl and pay too much for a steak dinner,
or you enjoy rodeo,
or you like rodeo,
yeah, it's huge.
Because nothing says bull riding like Vegas.
Yeah.
You got a $10 hamburger. It was a half a pound hamburger and a mountain of fries and a soft drink with it for $10.
Was this at South Point where it's Steak and Shake?
South Point at the bowling alley.
At the bowling alley.
Place to eat in the whole joint.
Yeah. The bar at the bowling alley was really good.
You may want to try my hack. Go to Winco grocery store and buy everything you need there. Bring it back to the hotel in a cooler.
And microwave your steak.
Who knows?
I remember stumbling out of Lux, like I took a nap. I woke up, it was dark, I had no idea what time it was. I went downstairs, walked out a door, there's an In-N-Out burger right there. Grabbed it.
Where did you stay?
Lux.
Lux?
No, Lux. It's like, I think it's called Lux, isn't it? Link.
Oh, Link. Yeah. Link has an In-N-Out burger.
Yeah.
Right there.
Well, it's right outside of it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not in the property. But yeah, you can go.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff down there, but that's the old style Vegas where you stay and never drive. You know, that was the game, was go to Vegas, park the car, leave it there for 2 or 3 days, take a cab, walk around, take a monorail, do whatever, because you were close enough to everything. You know? Oh, where are we going? We're going to Planet Hollywood. Oh, we'll go to the Miracle Mile to Ocean One, which is still relatively cheap to eat. You could walk there from Link. It's not that far.
It's just more of the game has changed. I mean, I experienced it on New Year's.
Yeah.
You know, it's different out there than it used to be. You know, and I can remember, you know, when it was a lot more interesting and a lot more fun. And it's just not now. It's still there, but it's not what it used to be.
It's the ingestion of music now. You and I and John and Howie and everyone else had to put in effort, time, and money to get music. And there was no guarantee the radio would play it or MTV would play it. Now, it's just assumed. If I want to hear an artist, and it's kind of scary when you think about it, I'm sitting here in front of the computer. I can go to YouTube, pick out any artist, any song, and just play it. Or I can go stream it on Spotify, or I can go to Tidal, or do whatever I want. That ingestion of music has changed the game for the DJ. You either have to be cutting edge at a level that no one knows what you're doing, or you have to be prepared for that short mix, quick hit. Here's the stuff that you know that you're not willing to hear anything new. I mean, you know, forget breaking new artists. I think those days are done.
I don't know, dude. I'm not gonna be all negative about it because
no. It sounds. It's like, let's find a solution.
I'm just was gonna say that my start time was actually 10. That's when dancing started. So I had like an hour and a half warm up set where I could do whatever I wanted, and that's what I was used to doing at this place when I was a kid. When I would go in there. Yeah. And it was like a dinner crowd and a bar crowd, and I was just playing whatever. Dude, I dropped some cool stuff. And it was stuff no one would have thought to ask for, or maybe they didn't maybe even know it. I did. Right. Dude, I did JD Plastic Dreams. I followed it up with Party by Van McCoy.
Oh, wow.
I followed that up with Daft Punk Voyager. Not even a popular Daft Punk song, but Voyager, which is a dope track. If you don't know it, listen to it. I did this for an hour and a half. I even snuck in the Knack My Sharona because it was different. And, you know, that was like a mainstream song that, you know, maybe you know it, but you were probably born 30 years after the song came out, so you don't know it.
Right.
I had fun. I really
just
did.
Testing the water? Were you just seeing what stuck, or were you just,
they were just mingling. And what I was watching for, because there were people at tables, and there weren't chairs at the tables, they were like high boys almost.
Right.
But they were big high boys.
Like belly bar?
You could fit, huh?
Like just a belly bar table?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, you could fit like, you know, 8 people around it.
Oh, wow.
And I'm watching their heads bobbing and, you know, or tapping their feet. There's no dancing happening right now. The volume isn't there. It's not that time of night, but I'm watching for that, and I'm seeing the reactions, and I got a really good reaction from that stuff. And they had no idea what they were listening to half the time.
Yeah.
And I did go up, like before the dancing kicked off at 10. At 10 o'clock it was on. But I go up and say, "Hi, I'm the DJ. What can I play for?" It's like, you know what? You've been playing some really neat stuff. Thank you. And they were young, relatively young. Well, everyone's relatively young.
2030s.
Yeah. But they were like, "Thank you for playing great tracks." The bartenders were dancing. I don't know if they knew what they were dancing to at the time, but they liked what I was playing. Right. And one of them came up to me later and said, "Man, that cool house stuff you were playing earlier, that was really cool, man. I did some Frankie Knuckles stuff."
Oh, beautiful.
But no, there was no one there to tell me no, and that was what the place was when I was younger.
Yeah.
When I was younger playing there, my attitude was, "Fire me if you don't like it." I was that cocky.
Yeah.
So, "Hey, we want you to do this, this, and this." I would look at them and say, "No, fire me if you don't like it." And I did my own thing. And it was supposed to be a tourist bar. So their attitude was, "Look, you got to play to who comes in here because it's going to be a different crowd every night. You're never going to see the same people twice. We're not a place where you get regulars. It's a tourist bar." 6 months in, I had regulars on Friday night. And if I wasn't there on Friday night because I had something going on, I heard about it the next week. "Why were you here last week? We came and you weren't here."
Yeah. That's a great feeling, isn't it?
So, yeah, I mean, so the fact that I just told them, "F you, I'm going to do what I want," ultimately was okay, and they liked me. I went into this one, it's a little different. They're looking at me like, "What should we do? We're all kind of new here. We're not sure what to do. We've never done New Year's here." And I'm like, "Well, let's try this and that. So I'm going to do this." "Well, when are you going to get dancing?" It's like, "Well, dancing will start at 10 o'clock. Your specials start at 10 o'clock. They run from 10 to 1. That's probably when dancing is going to start." Right. So, yeah, they didn't know the stuff, but it didn't matter. And it was ambient, but they dug it. And yeah, of course, when dancing started, I'm playing Flow Rider and
bangers. Yeah.
Don't
you find to do that a little bit at weddings? Like, I try to ramp up towards the end, and I'm looking for that same response. I had one wedding where the bride was like, "Yeah, we just, want to be mellow during dinner, maybe."
"Oh, yeah.
Instrumentals." I'm like, okay. So I did some Red Hot Chili Pepper instrumentals on strings. Well, people started singing. So I was like, I'm going to try something. And I put on Piano Man and Elton John's Tiny Dancer. And I got the same response. They all sang. Well, now they're all amped up at the end of dinner, and the bride and groom are like, "What's going on?" And it's like, this is our job. This is what I do for a living. Like, they never asked for Elton or Billy. But I knew that they would both work because this was that sit down, drink, eat, sing along crowd. And they went exactly where I thought they would go. And it's the fun of doing weddings and events where nobody's really telling you that much.
Yeah.
But it's up to you to figure out how to start the party.
I was doing weird stuff too, just kind of thinking back. I did like Soul Bossa Nova and Masquerada and just the goofiest stuff. Not the Black Eyed Peas Masquerada, the Sergio Mendes Masquerada.
Yeah. Brazil 66 stuff.
Yeah.
You can hit that sometimes and really shock people.
And well, the place totally has that vibe too. I mean, it's like a spy bar. So it was all in the Austin Powers movies. So it was like,
you ever drop Saint Germain?
No.
There's a great track called Salsa Soul. It's like 6 minutes long. It's instrumental. Great. And it's one of those tracks that if I'm feeling out a Latin crowd, cocktail, maybe towards the end of dinner, it's a good, give them a little vibe thing.
Yeah.
To see what response I get. It's sort of like Air, La Femme d'Argent. There are these tracks. 07 has some too, where it's ambient, but it's up enough that you sort of feel out where they're going to go and who they are. I mean, I remember when Garden State was a big movie and Waiting Line by 07 was in that. Death Cab was in it. Postal Service. I think Camera Obscura. All those kind of alti bands of the time were in that movie soundtrack. And you could tell. You just had to drop one of those artists and you could see if that movie permeated the group. We've had this talk about Queen, Don't Stop Me Now.
Yeah.
That's, if you get a theater crowd, if you get a geeky, former high school, now wedding tech crowd, you drop that track, they lose their ever-loving minds. That's up there with, Mr. Brightside for a response sometimes.
Well, yeah, the early evening thing is a different vibe in the regard that I'm not the primary thing that's happening. The primary thing that's happening is the conversation.
Right.
So I don't want to interrupt the conversation. What I want to do is provide ambience to enhance the mood. So it's very secondary to what's going on, where later in the night, yeah, I am what's happening. Yeah, the music is what's happening, and you're reacting to it. And this is your main activity as dance when you're doing this. But early on, no, it's background, but the background sets the mood, and you can be doing this while you're talking to your friends. And that's what I did. And I didn't have to pander to them. I didn't have to play Black Eyed Peas and stuff. I did other things. And then I played tracks that nobody plays anymore, too, that they may know from childhood because they're young, like Crazy Town's Butterfly. I've never heard that song anymore, and I like it.
It's a great track.
So I threw it on it.
On it. You know the scratching on it? You know who that is?
Is that Paul Oakenfold?
No, it's DJ AM. He was.
Oh, that's right. But he is the guy who sings Starry Eyed Surprise.
Paul Oakenfold does Starry.
No. The singer, the rapper, or whatever from Crazy Town.
Oh, he's the
one on Starry Eyed Surprise.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
That's why I said that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, you see the video, it's when AM was at his weight issue. Because
I knew that too, and I'm ashamed that I didn't say it, but I knew that was AM.
But that's one of those vibe tracks. I think I told you this last year, I bet you I played Lifestyles of the Rich and the Famous during probably 10 times by Good Charlotte. Yep. And you know what? It went over that and Stacy's mom. And every time I'd have one or two or three people come up and be like, I haven't heard that song in so long.
Yeah.
I forgot how awesome that track is. And I'm like,
right.
It fit the moment. It just fit. Yeah. And you get that 10-year cycle. It's usually 20 when everyone goes, wow, the 80s are on fire here in 2000. It's like, yeah, it's 20 years. Then it's the 90s are back because it's now 20 years.
Right.
But I think there's other times that you have a 10-year thing where you kind of go back 10 years against the age of the crowd. And it's not their big club stuff. It's their high school stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when it's fun. The Stacy's Moms, the Good Charlotte, things like that.
Well, good music is good music. I mean, and that's,
I agree.
Even if you don't remember it or something, it's still a cool track. And what's cool about that is, depending on who your group is, you get, all you ever had to do in Clubland, for me anyway, or bars, probably be more fair to say, is just find the cutest women in the room and play to them. Everyone's going to follow them. So as long as the cute girls like it, everyone's going to follow. And if the cute girls dance, whether you know it or not, you're going to dance. That's how it works. There's some followers.
And like you said about the bartenders, I had the bartenders dancing at that gig I did a few weeks ago when the GM's asking for my card. And I look over a couple times and they were jamming.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, his staff is happy. They have to be here. The guests don't.
Right.
The guests aren't coming back tomorrow night, but the bar staff is.
The staff was tripping. And I got to say, I do have to say this, that one of the nicest groups of people I've ever worked with. They were so nice.
Did you see the guy that you used to know there?
I only saw him when I went in to kind of check the place out.
Oh, okay.
Because he only works days. Huh?
Oh, did he remember you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we talked for an hour.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And he caught me up on everything, on everybody, and I told him some things he didn't know. And so, yeah.
Very
cool. But then New Year's, I was the person with the most seniority in the place. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No, I mean, you do the math. I've literally worked there hundreds of times.
Yeah.
No one who is there has worked there hundreds of times because when COVID hit, they were 14 months closed.
Yeah.
And now it's a brand new thing because they cleaned house about everybody in. So forget that I started there 30 years ago. Forget that I lived 25 years ago. Even if you go by the days, I still have the most seniority there.
You're still the guy
it was funny. But it was cool though. It was very cool. And everyone was so kind. I can't say enough how kind everyone was, from the general manager to the bar staff to the wait staff. They were all just amazing. Nice people to work with. And I was happy to be there. And I don't know, I really felt appreciated, and that's a good feeling too.
That's a great feeling. I think new staff is more vocal than the stuff I did in the late 90s at the bar nightclub thing. The staff would not say much, and then the management would say to you, yeah, staff said it wasn't cool last night. What? Seriously? Like, what happened? But I've noticed in the last 10, 12 years, staff will quickly point stuff out. Like, if you're doing a good job, they'll let you know. And it's really, by me at least, it's very appreciated. You know, I really appreciate hearing, wow, this is great. I love this vibe. Because it just inspires you to continue that.
Well, there was this, I mean, the place is a rat maze. You wouldn't believe it if I showed you how weird this place was. This girl comes up, this cute young girl comes up, and I'm like, yeah, what can I play for? She's just, oh no, I work here. My name's, I can't remember her name, and I should, but I'm terrible with names. I just want to tell you that I'm really enjoying what you're doing, and I'm in the back bar, and if there's anything you need, I will take care of you. I'm like, well, you're way back there. It just doesn't matter. Whatever you need, I have you. Do you need anything? I'm like, no, I'm good, but thank you. Is there anything I can play for you? She threw me a couple songs. I played them. Then I saw her at the end of the night, and I was waiting for Art to come and pick me up. And she says, I know you're waiting for your ride, but can I get you anything at all? Anything you need. They were just all so kind like that. It wasn't just, awesome. Oh, it's convenient. And then one of the guys who was bartending, I think I mentioned this earlier, but he made it a point to come up to me. I don't know, it was probably a little before midnight. He says, man, you're doing a great job. I love the music you're playing. That house stuff you're playing earlier was amazing. You need a Coke, don't you? Let me get you a Coke. You don't drink. You want Coke, right? I'm like, yeah, I'll get you a Coke. You get in a big glass. And he brought me this huge glass of Coke. And he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to walk away from his bar that was busy to come to check on me across the room. Because, I mean, logistically, it wasn't an easy thing to do with all the people and stuff.
You know what? They get it.
That was cool. Like, yeah, they totally got it. Yeah, they were new. They were cool. Yeah,
but you're working together. If you can screw his, tips up in one song.
They were not jaded at all. Because I've worked with jaded staff before.
Oh, I have too. And this
was not a jaded staff.
Right.
So it was cool in that regard.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it's reassuring to hear that that's what's going on, that they understand and appreciate. Because you're working together. He has a packed bar. If you shut the music off, that bar may not be quite as packed.
That's it. It's a coexistence.
The wrong songs. Yeah.
Symbiotic relationship. That's exactly it. 100%. Play the good music, you keep the people there. The bartenders are happy. The customers are happy.
I feel bad even talking about it. I felt like I beat it to death on my YouTube channel, but it was cool. And it's, I don't know.
It's a big deal, Brian, to get asked back to a club.
I didn't know they were asking me back.
But that's the best part. But 25 years later, here's the guy.
Just needed a warm body to come in and play tunes.
Me. They got a little more than that, I think.
Yeah.
Especially with your experience in the venue.
They took good care of me too. I mean, the pay was very fair. Very fair. I didn't feel like that I, cheated myself on New Year's Eve. It was fair club money for New Year's Eve. Very fair.
Good.
And, I was happy to do it. And the cool part about it is, I mean, when I really think about it, we talked about this, Jay, earlier on the phone. I think we talked about it.
You gave me a call about it.
It's really a 4-hour gig.
Yeah.
I mean, you do the warm up, but as far as like you're working,
you're skating on that.
You're watching, and there's dancers, and you're taking requests, and you're taking a bunch of crap from people for 4 hours.
Yeah.
10 to 2.
Yeah,
dude, it's really. I can do 10 to 2 standing on my head.
I did 8 to 1:30 when I was at the hotel up in Hillcrest, and that first 8 to 10 was me playing non-crazy A-list disco dances, mm-hmm. but I was still playing stuff that guys in their 50s and 60s would remember, and dance around to.
Sure.
And then at 10 o'clock, I knew it was time to start hitting them with the good stuff. And then when midnight came, I was always proud of not playing Celebration before midnight, not playing Vogue before midnight, things that were going to come back. Well, that was it. I mean, and I remember people complimenting me like, man, I can't believe, did you already play this? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No, I haven't repeated a song tonight.
I repeated a couple songs. I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Just simply because I had requests for them earlier and later, and they worked both times.
Then do it.
So
A banger's a banger.
Uptown Funk got played
sorry.
twice. I Want to Dance with Somebody Who Loves Me got played twice. It just is what it is.
I might revisit my whole policy of you cannot repeat a song because I've been adamant, and I've always told clients if I start repeating music, it's a free for all. It makes me look bad, and it makes you look like you hired the wrong DJ. No, we don't want that. And I think I did it because I talked to a better DJ than me 100 years ago who said, "Don't ever repeat a song. It shows you didn't bring it."
It's probably, you're a pro. You know when it's appropriate and when it isn't. But I was thinking about the Uptown Funk song.
That's one that you can totally drop twice and no.
And it was the big song.
Yeah.
Well, it was one of the big songs. I had 2 hours of just mayhem, but it was one of the big songs. I had to do a last song of the night, and I had played every banger that I could think of.
Donna Summer.
That this crowd, but that this young crowd would dig.
Closing time.
Because the young, but that's down tempo. I wanted to go out and bang. So
Mr. Brightside.
I had blown that earlier. I did. And that one, and I did Body Rockers and Like the Way You Move. I did those two.
Oh, I love that track.
So I followed up Mr. Brightside with Body Rockers, which brought it up even more, which is what I like to do, is just keep raising it. But yeah, I'm like, okay, you know what, screw it. We'll just do Uptown Funk again because I loved it the first time. Let's go out with a bang. There. And could I have pulled something out of my ass? Sure. But it was 2:00 in the morning. I was done. Everybody was happy. Yeah. Let's just get out of here. Let's just play a song they like, and I know they like already. So,
Ray Charles, Hit the Road, Jack. Good choice. Good choice.
Jay, I do not want to spoil your meat. I don't want to get between you and your meat tonight.
I appreciate that.
So we're gonna go ahead and put a fork in this. So
now
Jay put a fork in his prime rib.
Yes,
which we don't get to have any of because I'm like 2,000 hours away from them.
I don't either.
That's by choice. And I was talking to my mom about that today. I said, you know what? Jay's not eating meat, and I think it's a bad idea. I think it's a bad idea too. I'm just telling you, Mom thinks it's a bad idea.
There's nothing to be said. She's got more experience.
Mom said
than I do.
You know what Mom said? And it just, if you care, because Mom said, okay, Mom said it's probably a good idea to have a vegetarian diet, but once in a while to treat yourself to something nice would probably be something that would make sense. It would be in moderation. Jay needs to learn moderation, she says.
Yeah, this is true.
So,
not a word in my vocabulary that's easily used.
It's not.
It's that 2023.
Drinking White Claw, or you're not drinking White Claw.
Right.
Now it's liquid death. Much healthier.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Hopefully.